Welcome everyone to the Three Cynics Gaming Podcast. I'm Clay with my two brothers. How you doing, Mark Jr.?
I'm as well as I can be. How about you, Clay?
Lots of work. Took my wife to her pre-op today. I can't wait for her to be able to walk while standing straight again. That'd be super sweet. You know, being able to walk like a normal person. How are you, Nate?
Well, I suppose. I had a kind of moment of self-realization this week that was, I don't know, I thought it was funny. It's something my wife would probably get mad at me about. I was at the grocery store after work, picking up some soda, and I got in line. It was just me and the young man, probably no more than 16, asked me how I was doing. I was like, I'm well, how are you? And he said, I'm good, thank you for asking. And then he said, what kind of bags would you like? And my response was, who the fuck cares? Now, in my mind, I was saying, oh, it doesn't matter. But I said, who the fuck cares? Because that's what that means in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And he stared at me for a second. And then I was staring at him. And then his little light came on to signify that he needed manager's help. So we're just standing there staring at each other for it was probably 30, 45 seconds, but it felt like an eternity.
I was just going to say, damn, probably feels like an eternity.
And I'm like, is there a problem? And he just looks at me meekly. And then the manager comes up and they sit to the side and talk to each other for a second quietly. And then the manager rings me through. So the manager rings me up, and I guess I scared this young man with my demeanor. I don't know. It seemed completely normal to me, but he was definitely not prepared for the vulgarity, I guess, that would come out of my mouth.
Well, normal doesn't exactly equate to innocuous.
That's true. That's true. I just thought it was kind of funny because, to me, I was just saying it doesn't matter.
I don't even know what to say about all that. You intimidated the piss out of that young man.
I like the plastic bags. I use them for trash bags around the house. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. It's a trash bag. It was a bag. It's whatever. I had 3 2-liters. Pick a bag and throw them in. I'm good.
Still hilarious, though. Still hilarious.
He was very taken aback. I would apologize, but I didn't feel like it was necessary because I don't feel like I did anything wrong.
What if he's a good Christian kid and you just broke all his shit?
Well, his shit got broke. Welcome to the real world.
Hilarity. Hilarity.
All right, what do we got this evening, Clay?
Just so the listeners know, this is the last episode before the new year. We're all going to take a break, so we're going to have ourselves some sort of holiday special. We're going to talk about the idea that DICE is already working on a new Battlefield, and some bullshit Nate put in the doc about some soda, and a few other things. But first up, how about Star Citizen and its $100 million crowdfunding? I can't even wrap my mind around this. I don't understand crowdfunding as it is. It's like paying for wishes and dreams, and most crowdfunding projects, the vast majority of them, never see any form of fruition. And I've given to charities in my time when I understand what those charities do, but I have never once given a single penny or any amount of money to a crowdfunding project. I'm not paying you in the hopes that maybe I'll get something, or that maybe the world will get something. It seems absolutely nonsensical to me. Yet, $100 million?
It's crazy. I'll be honest. I've crowdfunded one thing. It was Ascension, which is a board game, deck building game, to be more specific. They were trying to bring it to Android. It was already on iPhone. It's an established company, Stoneblade Entertainment. If any of you like that kind of stuff, I recommend you look into it. You can download the app for free. The expansions cost money. And I gave them $10 because it was pretty much already happening. It was already on iPhone, like I said, and I have the physical copy of the game behind me. It's an established company. But you hear, I've got a story about that, actually. My friends are big into that kind of kickstarting type of crowdfunding nonsense that I don't really understand. I'm with Clay in that the possibility of me spending $1 and seeing no return while expecting a return is the problem. When you give money to charity, there's no expectation of return. In this, you're promised stuff, and most of the Kickstarters do it that way. They give you, you'll get item X if you donate $10, item Y for...
I think they call them stretch goals or
go.
something like that.
Stretch goals. Anyway, my friends were telling me about a project they crowdfunded that never came to fruition, and I don't remember the exact name of it, so I apologize. Somebody will know it out there, I'm sure. Basically, the guy was producing a board game, and he was showing real progress and giving you, I think it was a Call of Cthulhu board game. And his goal was $300,000 to produce it. And he was giving certain things and showing his progress as he went along, and then one day he just stopped. And he far exceeded his goal, and he just stopped talking to everybody. And then, when he got back in touch, for lack of a better phrase, he basically told everybody that he had to use that money to buy a new house because he got kicked out of his old house, and then proceeded to ask for more money. So hundreds or thousands of people basically bought this man a house.
So let me get this straight. This Kickstarter, I mean, I know very little. I know essentially what it is, but so there's no repercussions on this. It's not like you have to, like you say you're building X, and if you don't build X, it's like you don't get your money back. There's no refunds. There's no repercussions.
Well, it's kind of like the old idea of patronage, where, the wealthy would support, an artist or several artists. They would, people would give others money just to keep them doing whatever it is they do, and they didn't expect anything in return. This is a little different. There's plenty of platforms where you can crowdfund people. There's Kickstarter and GoFundMe, and I'm forgetting a dozen others.
Oh, I know, because I remember them saying something about some potato salad got a couple $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
So...
And I'm not exactly savvy on what their policies are, but as far as I know, and as far as I can conclude, there is no repercussion for a failed project. I've never heard of somebody suffering any sort of repercussion or reprisal, except, in the social media sphere, which is eventually, shortly, forgotten.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Their policies themselves, and you'll even get a disclaimer. At least last time I crowdfunded, I got a disclaimer that said basically, they're not held responsible for anything, and if the project doesn't go through, that's a risk you're taking. Now, that man
committed fraud.
Yes, he committed fraud. I'm sure that once everything catches up, meaning the laws catch up, it'll be different, because the internet is still, even though it's been around for decades, is still very murky water when it comes to most laws. So once that catches up, there will be repercussions, I'm sure, but at the moment there's not really any. I mean, that guy got ostracized, blacklisted, etc., etc., but it's the internet. He's obviously a savvy enough man to con people out of money to buy him a house, so I'm sure he could reappear under a pseudonym or something like that. I don't have so much a problem with crowdfunding in general. I have a problem with GoFundMe, because some fucking kid that I was reading about got $5,000 from random people to go visit San Francisco, and that's just begging. You're just begging. There's no need for you to be in San Francisco. I've always wanted to go to San Francisco. Give me money. No, fuck you.
Well, that's up to the donator.
Yes, but no, it is. But it's just begging. It's no different.
It's buyer beware.
And I disagree with you on the idea that one day there might be repercussions for failed crowdfunding, or at least subversive crowdfunding. If any crowdfunding platform is wise, they will advocate for patronage laws, very similar to what the patronage laws that exist in America today. I mean, Patreon operates to essentially just hand people money in the hopes that they'll do something, make something, or whatever. And if Kickstarter and GoFundMe are wise, they will operate under the same conditions. And yeah, fools will be scammed. Fools have been scammed since the beginning of time.
It's fair, but you can reach so many more suckers nowadays than you could 10, 15, 20 years ago, because it used to be you'd have to go town to town and hustle people face to face. Now you could just do it online and legally. That's brilliant. I love it.
And Nate has a point that regulation is far, far behind the internet, and it will probably never catch up because the government is always behind all things, and the internet moves far too quickly for most of the world's governments. I don't see any repercussions coming. I can't. As long as they have a disclaimer there that essentially says you may eventually get squat, nobody's liable.
Yes, but if they can prove that he never intended to actually produce the product, then he can be on the hook for fraud under the laws as we have them right now.
Oh yeah, and that is some murky shit. Proving intent?
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I don't want to say this calls for that because I don't want to call for it, but this mob justice is what this is going to spawn. Maybe not in the traditional sense where we hunt down a monster with a pitchfork and torches, but the people who are savvy on the internet can really do some damage to people like that, and then that's just confounding, legal problems.
Oh yeah, and the shield of anonymity on the internet has been a problem of some sort or another since the beginning. But we have digressed.
Well, that's because we don't care
far
about Star
into
Citizens
outer
at all.
space. No, I can't care about Star
Citizens.
I don't get down on space sims. They're not the least bit interesting.
Well, I mean, kudos to these guys for getting $100 million on it, though. Clearly somebody believes in the game, so hopefully they put out a high-quality product.
And I don't know how much you guys know about Chris Roberts, the creator of Star Citizen. He was the one who created...
Batman?
What are you
Wing
talking
Commander.
Wing
about?
Commander?
Oh,
Is that Mark Hamill?
So,
well, anyway, whatever. Go on.
His reputation preceded him to this Star Citizen project, and it is enormously ambitious. And I'm glad he's getting what he needs. I mean, I want to say that, there's a lot of abuse in crowdfunding, as you just heard us discuss. But the idea that his studio or his team has received $100 million in pledges, I can't call that abuse because they gave it to him. So,
yeah, but if he doesn't put out a product, it is abuse. But obviously, it looks like he's going to.
Well, they just put out their Alpha 2.0, so that people can play. At least donators or patrons can play. So that's pretty sweet. And there's been more than one complaint about what do they call that? Feature creep. That is, the more money a project gets, the more ambitious you get, the more your ambitions outweigh your funding. And I can see that. I mean, when was this announced? 2012. Holy cannoli. Okay. Well, to make an enormous AAA space exploration game, 3 to 5 years development time is not bad. So I can't give him any shit about that, but I want to, because you're in alpha 3.5 years later. So,
well, he'll figure that shit out.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
It'll take forever.
It's whatever.
Oh, well, if he continues to be funded, that means he can just continue to work on the game, right?
Yeah, he and his team. But I mean, $100 million. I mean, he has literally made $100 million in 3 years and 2 months to make a video game. He's got.
That's awesome. Y'all know how to make video games?
I don't know
What's
anything about making video games.
Download that Unity engine real quick.
Yeah. Oh, next topic. DICE has confirmed that they are already working on the next Battlefield. Now, this strikes me. The original article is from IGN's Alex Osborne, in which he states, quote, "A new entry in the Battlefield series is now in the works at DICE, according to development director Dan Vaderline," end quote. Apparently, Dan announced this on Twitter, sort of. He said, quote, "Now that we've shipped Battlefront and part of the team continues to work on it, I am moving on another project, the next Battlefield," unquote. And as far as I've read from other news sources, they're aiming for a holiday 2016 release. And as I noted in our episode document, how in the fuck can you create a worthwhile Battlefield in 1 year? I understand that they have the engine. The engine is brand new and it's a gorgeous engine. Everything they make with the Frostbite 3 engine is awesome looking. But games are less and less about graphics nowadays. I mean, they are still about graphics and everybody wants photorealism and whatnot. But once you have the engine in place, I won't say that a lot of that work is done for you because I don't know how to make video games, but you have a huge part of the structure of any game right there in that engine. Yet, can you build something around that engine that's really worthwhile in 12 months? I don't think you can.
I have no comment on this whatsoever. I've only played one Battlefield.
No.
I didn't enjoy
We're
it.
talking about turnaround time on development.
I understand what you're saying about turnaround time, and that's what's killing Call of Duty. It's what's killing Halo. It's what's killing 90% of the games that are out there. If you plop one of them pieces of crap out there every 12 months, you're going to get diminished returns each time you do it. Now, in the beginning, you'll get higher and higher, and then you'll get to like 3 or 4, and then it starts going right back down. So, the turnaround time on games is they're just trying to make it a cash cow. That's all they're trying to do. They just want more money and they're greedy. So instead of investing money and doing new things, they just go ahead and slap it out there and say, hey, you'll buy that piece of crap. And then we buy that piece of crap.
Well,
damn.
I'm willing to believe that this game has already seen some sort of production. I find it hard to believe that any video game series as prominent or as Battlefield or Call of Duty doesn't always constantly have a team working on new stuff. But their last 2 iterations of Battlefield style are just not good, and they're bombing. And I think that's the problem. Is Hardline is what I'm mentioning, and Star Wars Battlefront, which by the way is already down in price.
Is it how much? I might go get it.
I don't know about I don't know about for the consoles, but for PC I can get it for $40. When it gets down to 20, I might buy it. But anyway, I think that they're eager to get the sour taste of those 2 games out of gamers' mouths. Neither of them was very good, Clay. We played the Hardline beta. It was, first of all, it was not Battlefield at all. It was Call of Duty Battlefield Edition. And it was a very mediocre outing. If it's a game that I would pay $10 for, I would buy it. If it's a game that's going to cost me $60 at retail, then I'm not paying for it. Nah, I ain't got time for that. Same thing with Star Wars Battlefront. So basically, their last 2 outings have just left a sour taste in people's mouths, and neither of them have a strong player base. At least not as far as PC is concerned. I can't speak to consoles.
On the subject of Hardline wasn't a bad game. It was, as you said, it was mediocre. And when you come to expect everything better than mediocrity, you can't take that single step down. Yeah, as a developer, as a game maker or publisher, when your fans expect Battlefield Bad Company 2, and you might have slipped a rung when it came to Battlefield 3, we were totally willing to accept that. It's the next iteration. It looked a hell of a lot better than Bad Company 2. And then comes number 4, and looks better than number 3, has a better engine, brand new engine. I believe that was the first game made with Frostbite 3. And yet it stunk up the room when it came to connectivity and server issues, and it was horrible. So then you've got Hardline, and Hardline, it was like a watercolor version of Battlefield. Everything was cartoony and kind of gross, and the action was faster yet felt slower. And then you've got Battlefront, where they banked on the idea that fanboys will buy it. Fanboys will buy it. Fanboys will definitely buy it, and yet the fanboys aren't playing it. At least not enough of them. Their player count, according to SWB Stats, which tracks active players on all platforms, were not impressive. They were not Star Wars impressive. You know, the tickets for the upcoming movie sold out the moment they went on sale. But the associated game, or the deliberately unassociated game, because, movie tie-in games never work. So they didn't bother with that idea. They went the opposite route, and that hasn't really worked either. They might make a lot of money, but they're not going to sell a lot of DLC. I'm calling it now. They're not going to sell a lot of DLC. So when it comes to a 1-year turnaround on any video game, guess what you get? You get despised, like Activision and Ubisoft. And they've already established the 1-year turnaround. From Battlefield 4 to Hardline. Well, no, maybe that wasn't quite 2 years. That was a year and a half, something like that. Somebody correct me in the comments. And now from Battlefront to Battlefield 5, whatever they call it, it'll be a year. And, people will argue that, well, it wasn't a year between Battlefields. No, but it was a year between DICE projects. And DICE has been working on Battlefront since the release of Battlefield 4, or maybe a few months afterward. That game has been in development for more than a year. I can be sure of that. And you know what we're going to get, Nate? Because, I want another Battlefield. I want to play Battlefield again. I miss it so much.
Well, Battlefield started losing me when they got away from their bread and butter, which was destroyable buildings. You could alter the landscape of a battlefield. I don't expect hyper-realism in a shooter game. I like realism based on what the game is itself. And one of the things that always annoyed me about most shooters, I was going to say Call of Duty, but I don't want to pick out on them, is the fact that you're sniping me from behind a building, but when I shoot a rocket launcher at that wall, you just shoot me in the face because it's cool. And they really started getting away from that after, what was it, Bad Company?
No, Bad Company 2 had great destructible environment. Bad Company 3, it was much less.
Yeah, and then the more the Battlefield series went on, the less you could destroy, and that just, you're just turning yourself back into a generic military shooter at that point. And that's when they started losing me.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, have you ever played a game that, prided itself on the idea that, if there's a sniper in a window, you can take your rocket launcher and blow the wall out from in front of him?
I don't think so. It sounds fascinating, but no. No, I'm trying to.
Darn,
I'm trying
you're
to
missing
think.
out.
No, because that shit does piss me off a lot. Especially when you can only see the top of their head, but you can't hit his head, but he hit your head. It would be great to shoot a rocket at that bitch, and he's no longer hiding in that window. It'd be sweet.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, come on now. You've been playing Fallout 4 a lot lately. I've been playing Fallout 4 a lot lately. How many times you try to shoot a super mutant through a goddamn chain link fence and your bullets just bounce off?
Slat. Or, yes, oh my fucking God, it makes you want to murder everybody.
I guess we'll just have to see what DICE comes up with. Next up, Nate wants to talk about Soda Pop. Go ahead.
All right. I don't know who to direct my ire at here, Target or Bethesda, but I got to give Bethesda a little bit of shit because I always give them love. A while ago, they released Nuka-Cola Quantum exclusive to Target to buy in stores. And like the good nerdy Fallout fanboy that I am, I got up early in the morning and my wife and I went to go get a couple, only to find that they're sold out. We are the 7th person in line and they're sold out. My local Target got 6 bottles. 6. I called another nearby Target. They got 4. 4 bottles. Now, that's a problem with exclusivity, but they're re-releasing it, which is why I bring this up. And it made me pissy as shit the first time. And I'm also super pissy about it now because I'm not even going to go bother to try to get them because the quality that went into the product itself is not good. It's not an accurate representation of what Nuka-Cola Quantum looks like in the game. Yeah, it's sparkly, shiny blue, but the bottle in the game is shaped like a rocket. This is not shaped like a rocket. It's just a regular soda bottle made by Jones Soda Company. And I don't know, it pissed me the fuck off because now I don't even want one. I want Bethesda to do better and I want Target to die.
All right, quit setting your mouse down so hard. Mark,
tell me what to do, bitch.
You got anything on this?
Yeah, well, I'm with Nate 100%. I think it's hilarious, personally. Now, I'm a Fallout nerd boy with the best of them. Don't get it twisted. I bought my stupid Pit-Boy after the fact for some reason. So I didn't even know they had released Nuka-Cola Quantum in stores. I didn't even know. I read the article and they added to the docs. It was hilarious. Just the fact that they're going to now Nate, they did say in the article that they're going to mass produce it this time, that there's going to be more than 6 or 4.
Ooh,
so if you
already lost me.
So if you want to go get some, you can go get some. Now I refuse to shop at Target, but that's for personal reasons. So I might send the wife in there to get me some. So
Target is just the middle class Walmart.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I see any in my local Walmart, I will consider buying a bottle for each of you. But more than likely,
Target exclusive,
I will laugh. Whatever. I shop at Target all the time.
That's dumb.
I will consider buying you both a bottle, but I'll more than likely giggle and walk away.
Hey, my super nerdum for the Pittsburgh Steelers had me have Mom mail me 2 boxes of Jerome Bettis Hall of Fame Crunch. Thank you very much. Which was some nasty ass Honey Nut Cheerios.
Well, I
got a
thought
box
for
on my
sure
shelf
that it was going to be a good display piece. Basically, I was going to get one for Dad and one for Mark, and I was going to have one up on my shelf because I got my Pip-Boy put in. I got my wife's old phone in there permanently plugged in, so it's always showing the Pip-Boy screen and flashing through that. And I got a couple of bobbleheads, a couple of Christmas ornaments, and some other nerd shit because I love Fallout and I'm not crafty enough to actually make anything myself. So I have to wait and see what they release and then buy it. So when I couldn't get it because they only shipped 6 to my local Target, I was pissy as shit. I was ready to smack somebody in the mouth.
This is utter nonsense.
But
You're
it's
utter
hilarious.
nonsense.
It's hilarious.
It pissed me off.
And I can
so I need to get that out there.
I can understand Nate's I was going to make up a word there, but I'm not going to make up a word.
Make up all the words.
It
was this Pinjodo
towards this because I've done that, just not with Fallout, and there's nothing more infuriating than literally being like 7th in line, and you're like, all right, bet I got that shit, and then you don't get that shit. You're like, really? 7 fucking people? And it's gone? You're like, yeah, the first guy picked up 4.
Hey, you guys really are fanboys. I can't remember ever standing in line to get a thing.
Well, it's not like we were actually standing in line. I was 7th. The store just opened. And you stand in line all the time to get groceries, so shut your mouth with your need to eat.
I was being specific. I've never stood in line for my fanboyism.
Oh, I have
never gone to a midnight release?
Hell no.
Tons of time.
Why not?
Why? Because I could play it the next day. What difference does it make?
Because then you don't get to talk nerddom with everybody else who's there to pick up the same game.
I guess I'm just not that good at talking nerddom.
And maybe threaten to beat people up, because that's what I do.
Welcome back, listeners. Don't forget, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, you can also find us on YouTube, where we'll be announcing some giveaways. We're not exactly sure when, probably after the holiday break, but be sure to subscribe. And if you're already watching us on YouTube and you need us on the go, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Next up, I think we're going to spend the last half of the show as a sort of holiday celebration, however you celebrate the winter solstice or this time of year. We wish you well, and we hope it's a happy celebration, and we want to bring the great things that came out of 2015 to light. So I think I'll defer to Mark first on just all the great things in gaming that you saw this year that you want to make sure the listeners know about.
Oh, well, you know me, I'm a blockbuster title guy. You know what I'm saying? There was a couple of big ones I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed The Witcher 3. If anybody hasn't played that, they should definitely pick that up. If you like an action RPG style, you should definitely pick up The Witcher 3. It was a wonderful game that they did a great job making. If you haven't tried it, you should definitely try it. Batman. Now I know you PC guys out there get a little pissy with that one, but on the console it was an excellent game. They did a good job with it. They pressed the Batmobile on you just a tad too much for my liking because it seemed like you could go faster flying like Spider-Man rather than driving your car, which makes no sense whatsoever.
I'm pissy because I can't play it.
I understand. That's why I said, because I feel bad for the PC guys, and it's not very often that a console gamer can say that. But the Batman game on the consoles was fantastic, and I'm sorry for the PC gamers. Y'all should go bitch at somebody about that. I'm not sure it'll do any good for you.
Buy a console. I mean, I know that they are a lesser experience, but if you really want those exclusives, like I want Bloodborne, and I'm gonna have to get a PlayStation to play it. Now, I may never do it, but if you're dead set on just trying all the games that the market has to offer, you gotta have all the platforms.
I have a PS4. I have an Xbox One. I don't play the PS4. There's no exclusive that I would personally go buy a system for, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just so down. I like a simple, you just put the game in and it plays. Now, a lot of PC guys are like, it does, but what if this is outdated? You do this. No, bitch. No, I just want to put it in and I want to play. That's it. That's all I want to do. So I buy a console. It's easier for me. Now, my lovely brothers have decided to acquire a PC for me for Christmas, so
Hunted it in the wild.
We'll see if we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
I hunted it down with my bow and arrow because I sold my rifle. So and your bows aren't all that good at penetrating steel, but I got them.
The trick is to aim for the lower parts, so you don't hit any of the major components of the wild computer.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So I've got a game that should make you want to buy a console. One of my favorite games this year was Xenoblade Chronicles X. It's in the series of Xenosaga, Xenogears, Xenoblade. It's the spiritual successor to Xenoblade Chronicles, which came out on the Wii, I believe, 2011, 2012. But it's just a massive RPG, huge, beautiful open world content that is as much about exploration as it is about combat. So you don't necessarily have to worry about the usual hack and slash your way through 10,000 monsters to get to the next 10,000 monsters. The scenery is much more than you would ever expect from a Wii U. It's gorgeous. If you've not even looked at screenshots, I recommend you Google it and look at screenshots. The gameplay video is interesting as well. It's an action RPG, so it's pretty common in this day and age. But it's a very beautiful game with a lot to offer, and it's doing things that you would not expect anyone on a Wii U to do. It is a Wii U exclusive, so in order to play it, you're going to have a Wii U or borrow one, if that's still a thing. Do people still borrow systems? Anyway, it's just it's a very complete game, and it offers a lot more than you would expect to find.
See, I'm having a hard time seeing the light side of this because I've heard more than one pundit talk about how we have had such a glut of great games this year and how there's just too many great games to play to get to them all and other such. And I just can't agree. I can't give a shit about The Witcher 3. Nate bought me The Witcher 2 and I started it 3 times. That was it. I think I played it for a total of 5 hours on 3 separate starts because the starts were so far between that I forgot the controls and had to do the tutorial again, so I had to start over. And then what difference does it make? You know, if you only get an hour into a game, well, whatever. So The Witcher 3 was lost on me. And then there was Metal Gear Solid 5. Can't give a shit. Don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I kind of understand why everyone loves Hideo Kojima, because he's made a game series that a lot of people love. But no, not interested. Snake is a boring-ass character. Big Boss, doubly boring. I've had my hand at a few Metal Gear Solids or Metal Gear games in the past, I think on the PlayStation 2. And no, boring. Not even interested. Their version of stealth is comical.
Didn't Kojima just open up his own studio?
He's trying. He is working in collaboration with Sony on game projects now. But I can say that my favorite games, that is, games released in 2015 that Clay was willing to spend money on, because I'm a cheap shit, I loved Dying Light. I still haven't finished it. I think I'm...
Goddamn poor
Dude,
ass.
You ain't even played it. Shut up.
I know what it is.
I think that's a problem we're running into a lot, is most of us have not played the games that the other ones have played.
Yeah, well, I think Guinevere and I are between 65, 75 hours into it, and we haven't even completed the narrative. Its longevity is good. I've had problems with games in the past that are incredibly long because my brothers have heard me piss and moan. Maybe the listeners haven't, but long games tend to wear out on me pretty quick. Like it took me like 16 hours to beat BioShock Infinite, and I was down. Every bit of it was awesome, and I looked forward to it.
Game 2.
But
I agree. I'm not a fan of the BioShock series.
I enjoyed the first one, and then it was poop.
There's a lot of games, especially open world games, that just they seem to stretch on and on and on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, except that they never seem to lead to anything, or they don't have a pacing that makes me want to continue. But Dying Light does. So if anybody hasn't checked out Dying Light, you're not going to pay full price for it now, but I can say that if you do, I wouldn't blame you, because it's awesome.
Dude, it's still $60 in the Steam store.
Hells yeah, it's awesome. And they're coming out with an update next year free for anyone who owns the game, with a huge update. The enhanced edition of Dying Light is absolutely free for anyone who already owns the game. And
Hold on. What's the game about, though?
The game is about a city in an unidentified country. The city is called Haran, so take your guesses. That was infected with a virus and has since been quarantined by the world's health organizations. And it's your job as a secret agent who parachutes into the city to find a certain something for the agency that you work for. And that eventually devolves into dissension and AWOL. And the story is very lively. And it's all about smashing zombies over the head and eventually doing the same thing to humans. And it has a great pace. Like, eventually you get to the point in the game where you've struggled with beating things with tire irons and crowbars and whatnot. And you grow more and more powerful. And eventually you get to the point where you can find guns. I think it's a scaling thing in the game. And once you find guns, most of the combat is very easy. The challenge is in everything else. So the game evolves. As you grow in power, it evolves to challenge you in different ways. And I like it. I like it a lot. And what else was there for me this year? Evolve. But
shut up.
Evolve, I mean, I paid $25 for it 3 times.
That doesn't make it a good game.
It is a good game.
Oh, we should try it now that I got my new video card, though, for real.
It's just repetitive as fuck.
It requires more than people are willing to put into it, I think.
Oh, yeah, it has a very high learning curve, and it needs to go free to play. It has a big, I should say, a small population problem. In peak hours, there might be 300, 500 on a very good day playing Evolve, and that's not enough for their matchmaking style. For those who don't know, it's a 4v1, all players, no NPCs if you can help it. And with that style of matchmaking, you have to have a lot of players because you have to match 4 people who want to play Hunter to every one person that wants to play Monster, and that convolutes the whole matchmaking process. So you have to have a lot of people to keep it steady. And I think the last time I tried to play, I think I sat in queue to hunt a monster for 5-7 minutes, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm out. And then people on Reddit called me entitled because I wasn't willing to wait 10 minutes for a match. And I was like, bitches, I shouldn't have to wait 2 minutes. And that's not a standard set by me. That's a standard set by online gaming. If you wait literally 30 seconds, count from now until 30 seconds from now in the podcast, it's fucking forever in online gaming. So, and they need to go free to play, and they need to have a new marketing campaign to celebrate the shift in monetization technique. They need to celebrate the shift to free to play with a new marketing campaign, and they could sell shit tons of characters and skins and all that. But they're run by 2K.
That was their problem, Clay. It was from the beginning, Evolve was designed to sell DLC. And that's okay when you're free to play. I don't mind sticking a little bit of money into you when you're free to play, but if I already paid full price, which I didn't pay full price, you bought it for me because I would never pay full price for it, because quite honestly, you can't fucking play the game unless you want to play against bots at this point. But that was their whole problem. If they were free to play from the beginning, then they would have possibly had a bigger player base because it's available to more people, and then they can sell you their DLC.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've gone out on a tangent, and we're supposed to be talking about the positives of this year to celebrate
hold on. We didn't
the greatness.
say a Fallout. I mean, it was the best one of all of them.
We're getting there. Hold on.
All right, Mark Jr., take it off. Go, rant about Fallout.
We haven't even got to Goat Simulator.
I didn't play Goat Simulator.
How did you not play Goat Simulator?
What the hell's Goat Simulator?
It is exactly what it sounds like, Mark.
It's a goat?
You're a goat, and the physics of the game are awful, and the clipping is awful, and you knock tractors like 90 million feet in the air. But you're a goat when you do it.
I can't play that on console, Nate.
It's on PS4, actually.
Well, I don't want to spend money on it. How about that?
That's a better excuse.
No. I mean, we started this podcast with Fallout 4. You know, the whole shebang. By far,
I'm always down for Fallout 4.
Of the games that I've played this year, that's my favorite, and that may be my Fallout nerd boy in me, but it's a fantastic game. It's super in-depth. I was worried the map was too small. No, you don't got to worry about that shit at all. There's 4 million places to go. The game is fantastic. Yes, it's got glitches. Yes, it got bugs, blah, blah, blah.
It's marvelous.
But it's a fantastic,
marvelous.
Wonderful game that they did a great job. And you know what? They're not saturating the market like all of your shooters, and that's what everybody's whining about year after year after year. When was the last one? Not New Vegas, because that was outsourced to ZeniMax or whoever it was.
Yeah, ZeniMax.
So 2008 to 2015.
Yeah.
So then you build up this
right.
huge, reliable people that are just dying for you to drop something about your game, and you keep tight-lipped until a week before E3. And then you drop the game 6 months later. So, of course, you're going to sell 4 jabillion copies. And they did a wonderful job with it. They really did. I enjoy the game top to bottom. I'm just about to beat the first playthrough, and I will go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times. So.
Oh, yeah. I beat the game. I went Brotherhood of Steel. Like I said, I won't give away any spoilers, but it hits you right in the feels when you do it for Brotherhood of Steel. And my next action was to immediately create a new character. So I'm already like 17 hours into my second character, which probably doesn't sound like a lot, but normally once I beat the campaign mode for the first time in a Fallout game, I make another character generally because they didn't let you continue after beating the campaign mode. Basically, I don't know why I'm saying campaign mode. Main narrative, I guess, would be a better story, or would be a better description. But I wanted to play through with Mei Li, so I just started a new character and a female to get a different perspective. So yeah, I'm with Mark. There's a ton of stuff to do. It's a unique experience every time you play the game. It's Fallout, so you know what you're going to get. It's a known quantity, and what drives it is a good narrative, and they did a good job with it.
Way better than New Vegas. So
yeah, New Vegas was. I like New Vegas more than everybody else does.
Well, I liked New Vegas, but I didn't like the narrative as much, and the damn black and white in that game drove me mad. It's either you're straight evil or you're straight good. Yeah, you can be neutral, but you can never stay neutral. You get karma for shooting somebody in the head, and then you lose karma for robbing him. So, the way they did it, I thought Fallout 4 did a fantastic job of making it just one giant gray area, because what is life? Life is one giant flipping gray area.
Yeah, that's true. And I was kissing Bethesda's butthole when Fallout 4 dropped, but a month into it, meh. It's
Fallout.
I mean, it might be a Game of the Year contender for like 99% of all pundits, but not for me. To me, it's a mediocre game. It's a way to waste time, is how I see Fallout 4. Maybe I'm a dumb face. Maybe I'm not playing video games the right way. And if you guys watch our gameplay videos, which I recommend you do, I am not video game savvy, at least not when it comes to the mechanics of video games. And sometimes it's funny, and sometimes, on certain occasions, it's just incredibly frustrating, at least for me.
Okay, so
but
you're
I'm
going
not
back
the type
to
of
finishing
person
on
that
a bad note, Dick.
No. I'm working on it. Damn. Oh, don't derail me.
Derailed,
God
bitch.
damn it.
Derailed because you're just being a dick. We're trying to
No,
have
I'm not being a
Merry
dick. I'm
Christmas,
trying to get
motherfucker.
to a point.
Merry fucking Christmas. All right?
I'm trying to get to a point.
I am not a
all right?
Christian man, but Merry fucking Christmas.
Well, I could tell you one game that I also haven't beaten, that I purchased in 2015, that I absolutely adore, and that is new and tasty Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. They remade the original, I think it was a PlayStation 2 game, with all the latest high-definition-y graphics and super special effects and much better physics than the original. Even though they feel almost exactly the same, except that might just be my misinterpretation of my own memories. It's whatever. It feels good. It's a nice looking game, and it's just as fucking difficult as the original.
I remember
And
the
I
first
just
one. It was
realized
fun.
I haven't beaten a game in 2015. Not a single one.
Damn.
I actually enjoyed the first one. I didn't buy the remastered edition. I was just giving Clay shit because he was talking shit about Fallout 4.
It's all right. It's all right. If we all like the same thing, it'd be an awful boring world.
Well, that's the
You
truth.
know what else came out this year that I've already talked about was Dirty Bomb, because it feels like I've been playing it forever, and it just dropped in June. So I've already gone on about Dirty Bomb in a different episode, but it's free to play, so everyone should check it out because it's fantastic. I have 343 hours logged in that bitch.
Super fast.
And also, yes, Clay is the albatross around my neck in first-person shooters.
I'm more like a millstone. Don't give me wings.
I'm like, yeah, we all did well. Why did we lose? And then Clay's like 4-26.
I'm not always that bad.
Well, I
Just
won't lay you down like that, Nate. I promise. I'm better than that.
That's why Clay and I love objective-based games, because if he's 4-26, it doesn't matter as long as he planted the bomb every time.
That's very
Right?
true.
If he was doing the productive stuff, I don't mind that he's 4-26. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. I swear, listeners, I have tried for like the last... When did the Xbox 360 come out? 2005?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I have tried for the last 10 years to get good, noob. and I still can't. I tried so hard. And then Nate convinced me to switch platforms and control schemes, and it started all over again.
Well, get better.
I'm trying. No, I'm not. I don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter. The point in video games to me is to have fun. If I wanted to be,
not be stressed out.
Oh yeah, and I'm the type of player. Thankfully for me, and I was just talking to our eldest brother about this the other day, and he said,
"Why would you talk to him about anything?"
He said he doesn't understand how I could enjoy a video game that I'm bad at. It is complete nonsense to him. And I said, I don't know how that is, Rob. I am the type of gamer who can be horrible and still be fucking curled up in my chair laughing, having a good time.
No.
Well, let's talk about the highs for others. We've already pretty much capped all our highs. Well, the highs for others.
I ain't done no heroin yet today.
Shut up. There was Assassin's Creed Syndicate. All the Ubisoft shills, they were super happy about that.
Very well.
It didn't play bad. It was set in an interesting setting. It had a slightly different aesthetic from the last iteration. So, I mean, those are like 2 more evolutions in iteration than you usually expect from Ubisoft.
Well, don't forget your Black Ops 3 drop too. Everybody loves that, you know.
Grand Theft Auto hit PC this year too.
Sure
Was it 2015 GTA 5 came out?
No,
it was 2014. Yeah, it was 2014 for 360 or not 360 for 1 and PS4, but it just came to PC this spring, I think.
No cares. Sorry, guys.
It was a good playthrough. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It's decent. That's probably the best storyline they've had in a while.
But the online still doesn't work to this day, or at least not well.
Yeah, they gave up. Fuck them.
And
Yeah, they made billions of dollars. What do they care?
Yeah, it's just a pay to win. Buy this rocket launcher, Dick.
What are you waiting for?
So, yeah.
You don't have it yet. Come on, rocket launcher.
What else dropped that was hot?
Mortal Kombat X, pay for fatalities.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That was a good scheme.
Yeah. Why do that when you could just go to YouTube and look them all up? I could do it right now. But I'll give you $5. But you're not actually doing them. You're just paying the game to let you hit one button.
Yeah. What if I want to see me do it?
Then I don't understand.
Well, then lots of people bought it. You know they did.
Probably. I'm sure they got a ton of money off it. It's a good scheme.
While we're at it, talking about the highs, why don't we go back to the doc and look at this Smash Brothers article you added there, Nate?
We would be remiss also if we didn't mention Splatoon in our highs, because it's a high for me.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about it last episode, so we can't forget to give it love.
Love for Splatoon. Keep doing what you do, Nintendo. Now, Nate, tell us about this Smash Brothers article. Where'd you find this?
All right, on a GameSpot article by Eddie something or other. He wrote an article.
I mispronounced his name last week. I'm pretty sure it's Macook.
Oh, well, good for you then, Eddie. We apologize for butchering your last name. Email us. We'll fix it. Anyway, basically the creators of Smash Brothers said that this could be the end of Smash Brothers. They don't know that they're necessarily going to make another Smash Brothers. I think this would be a drastic mistake because I feel that Nintendo has approached Smash Brothers properly. There's not a Smash Brothers every year. There's one per system. And that's the right way to do it as far as I'm concerned because, they have more than 4 million copies sold. It's one of their best-selling Wii U games. And it has shifted more than 7.3 million copies to 3DS. For those of you who don't know, you can play Smash Brothers on the Wii U against people on their 3DS. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh, yes. My daughter is a member of the Smash Brothers Club at her school.
That sounds weird.
No, it's awesome. There's just a bunch of kids in a room on 3DSs and Wii U's fighting each other.
No, this is extracurricular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they totally get credit for that. A+.
I wish I've never even played a Smash Brothers game except for 10 minutes once in my stepson's bedroom. But damn, why didn't I get credit?
They're really good fun. But anyway, they also say in the article, to be fair, that the makers of Smash Brothers didn't think that Melee or Brawl would get sequels either. So I do find it hard to believe that they wouldn't make another sequel, given that it's one of their biggest cash cows.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark Jr., you've played Smash Brothers, haven't you?
Like 8 years ago, and then for like 20 minutes at mom's house when Nate brought the Wii up there. So, I mean, I enjoy
What's
it.
wrong with you? Quit being so jaded.
Well, I'm not jaded. I just haven't never really played the game. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you like the fighting genre, I've never liked the fighting genre. The last fighting game I liked was like Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
TMNT Tournament Fighters.
I played that too. That shit was hot.
That's because you didn't like it because I would beat you in
You
them, and then
probably
you would
would.
try to fist fight me.
That sounds like me.
That's an accurate portrayal of what
I
happened.
believe that. I don't remember that, but I believe it. But I don't like
Marijuana affects the memory.
very much so. But I have a lot of childhood memories. I remember I locked you out, you busted the door and fucking fucked your wrist up, hit you in the face with a rock and a golf ball.
Well, you hit me in the head with a rock, not my face.
Oh, okay. The face was the golf ball?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I still to this day tell people I have no idea why I punched through the glass with my left hand, given that I'm right-handed.
Agreed, but a cool scar on your left hand. But yeah, if you can't tell, he's my little brother.
Yeah.
Well, little younger,
Younger, not
Mark.
littler
Younger.
anymore. No.
You're such a honky.
And what are we gonna fucking do with that stupid shit? I'd never even heard of it.
Oh my! You never heard? All
You
right.
never heard of Super Mario Maker, Mark?
No.
All right. During the break, guys, we were talking about what we were going to discuss next, and I had brought up Super Mario Maker because although I don't have too much experience playing it myself, it is a really nice concept, and it banks on nostalgia. I've watched a lot of gameplay videos of it because you basically, for those of you who don't know, Mark, who for some way has never heard of it. I don't know how you've never heard of it, but they basically you get to make classic Mario levels. Your updated graphics, but your 2D side scroller Mario, and you make levels and you play other people's made levels. And there's a whole bunch of challenge videos on the internet of people making impossible levels. But anyway, it banks on nostalgia, but it also has a lot of neat new features. It incorporates pretty much everything from Mario that you can imagine. So although I don't have too much experience playing it myself, it does look really neat.
Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine there's many of our listeners that haven't seen gameplay of it, but you can use any generation of graphics to create your levels, all the way back from Super Mario Bros. Up to whatever is the latest 1080p version of Super Mario Brothers, to create the impossible or the fun or the excruciatingly long. There's so much variety. Now, their system is something to be questioned, but we're not going to get into it because this is the holiday episode, right? And
yeah, with a bow. And
yeah, with a
wrapping
bow
paper
on
and shit.
top, and then we got the little Hanukkah candle thing, and we got the other Kwanzaa candle thing over here, and
A menorah, Clay?
yeah, sure, that thing, a
menorah.
Kwanzaa menorah.
It's not a Kwanzaa, it's a Hanukkah menorah, Clay.
Personally, I just have
Right.
a Christmas tree.
I forgot my yarmulke for this
My wife,
episode.
who is Jewish descent, actually won't let me put up Hanukkah. I almost said Kwanzaa. Won't let me put up Hanukkah decorations.
Well, however you celebrate the winter season, we wish you all well and happiness and safety.
And magic.
Yeah, and magic. Absolutely wonderful magic with giving and receiving. But we're done for now, and you'll see us again after the first of the year. So tell them where they can find our stuff, gentlemen.
You can follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter for updates on prizes,
It's
Ooh.
not prizes, it's giveaways.
giveaways. Hey, prizes. Hey,
It's not-
prizes sounds
prize
way better.
Prize
Gifts.
indicates they have to do something special in order
Yes,
to
they
earn
do.
it.
They need to follow me on Twitter.
Not you,
Oh!
Look, Bobby's faithful, all right?
Yes, he is.
Oh, anyway, you can also find us on your favorite podcast app, iTunes, Stitcher, and apparently like a million other places. So if you Google us, that's what's up.
If you're listening to us through your favorite podcast app, know that you can find us on YouTube as well if you want to sit back and watch. We do many other things, gameplay videos, and, hilarity ensues. And if you're watching us on YouTube now, Find us on your favorite podcast app if you want to listen during your drive or your commute or whatever. And don't forget to pay attention to our Twitter, our Facebook, and our YouTube page to stay up to date on upcoming giveaways. We're going to have, more than likely, they're going to be Steam download codes for games you might want to play. So subscribe on all the platforms. Anyway, however you celebrate, enjoy the upcoming holiday. We'll see you after the first of the year. Bye, everyone.
Merry Kwanzaa.
Merry Christmas.